All right, welcome back to this week's episode. So last time we were with this bike, because of the comments, we ended up figuring out it's the forward cylinder. So it's kind of like this: there's a cylinder aiming straight up, and then there's a cylinder going straight out to 90-degree V or L twin. I call it an L twin, the V twin. Anyway, so this forward cylinder is not firing, and checked the spark, checked all that. All that was good. The cam belt is good. So now it just leaves the fuel injector. We took off the fuel injector. We tested it with a 9-volt battery. It's working. And then we hooked up a stethoscope up to it. It seems like the bike is not triggering it. So what we're going to do is we're probably going to swap over the plug from the injector that is working over to that injector and see if that cylinder starts working. The thing that we're also going to see is we're going to hook up a voltmeter to the plug itself to see if the ECU is actually firing it, or because I believe one side is the ground, the other side is pulsing a positive, or one side is a solid positive and it's pulsing a negative. We'll have to figure out which one it is. So we'll see if it's pulsating to trigger it, and if it is, then that's probably a bad fuel injector. But because maybe with all the pressure of the fuel, maybe it's not cycling. That could also be an issue. So what we're gonna hopefully figure all this out today, or we're gonna follow the wire back for that fuel injector, and we're gonna see if it's maybe frayed somewhere between, because the fuel injector is about here and the ECU is about here. So we're gonna see what it is, but now we're gonna take off all the fairings to get it back all naked. All right, so I unhooked the plug for that forward injector. I have some alligator clips going to a voltmeter here. So if we turn it on, it is reading something. And then if I cycle the starter, so there is a voltage going to that injector. So the next thing I'm going to try, I'm going to unhook the injector for the vertical cylinder, not the injector, the plug for the vertical cylinder, and then I'm going to plug it on the one that is currently not working to see all of a sudden it starts working. All right, so what we did was underneath here, we swapped over the plug for the injector from the vertical cylinder to the forward cylinder. And the forward cylinders, we still have it plugged into this. So you can see right there, it's still fully unplugged. So we're gonna see if it's the fuel injector itself, or we're going to see if it's the ECU not sending the correct signal to that injector. So let's see. Well, there you go. Also, the coil for the vertical cylinder is unplugged right now. So it could only be the forward cylinder firing. So let's see. Okay, so the wisdom of the crowd was that it is probably the forward fuel injector. Well, we just disproved that, because all we did was take the plug from the one that was working and put it on the one that was not working. So I think what I need to do now is plug this thing into the other fuel injector and see what it looks like when it's turning over, because we saw what this one looks like. It just looks like a, you know, we can do it again. So we'll actually get it. Do I have it unplugged? I have it unplugged. All right, so we'll be able to see what it looks like here. So this is the one that is not working, the plug. So it's just reading a steady 12 volts. It's not pulsing. And I was kind of hoping it wasn't going to read anything. So then that maybe would indicate that there's something bad somewhere. And it doesn't seem to be doing that. So I'm going to now unplug the one from that was on the vertical cylinder that we put on the horizontal cylinder, and then hook this up to there just to see what it's doing. Is it pulsing? Is it whatever it's doing? So that we could see. I mean, it's possible that maybe it's just like maybe the tabs on that connector are just really bent, and maybe it just needs some type of to rebend them so it has a better connection. I'm not sure, but let's see what we can figure out. All right, so here's the cylinder or the fuel injection wire that for some reason is working. Here's the forward one that was not. So I've hooked in the voltmeter just so that we could see if there's something different with it. I'm not really noticing anything. I mean, that looks exactly the same. So now I'll switch everything over and we'll do the same test again. All right, so here's the one we just tested. So I switched everything over. So now we'll do the same thing again. Okay. Okay, so maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just a bad connection right here. I mean, both of these look exactly the same. Those connectors look fine. These connectors look fine. So this is the forward one. This is the vertical one. They both look exactly the same. I don't know, maybe some dielectric grease in there or something. It's pretty odd because they're both exactly the same. So I'm not noticing anything up here. So, all right, so if they're both basically, according to the voltmeter, doing the exact same thing, then there's no need to be tracing the wires back from there. So it's not the ECU, it's none of that. It's seeming like it's a connection issue, which is right here. And if I plug in this one, the front cylinder works. If I plug in this one, it doesn't work. So I'm not sure what that means at all. I don't think any of that's going to help me. So I'm leaving this clip up like this just so I know that this is the one that works. I don't know. Maybe if I put in some dielectric grease, maybe try to help the connection better. It's kind of, I don't know, this is really odd. All right, so yeah. Well, I think I'm gonna see what I can do to try to get it running on the forward one because it seemed like the vertical one was not so bad. So I don't know, maybe we'll try to move these pins around. Not the pins, but these connections just to see if they are clamping on. Have they lost their clamping force? They seem fine. So I'm not really understanding. I'm trying this one now. Yeah, that seems fine too. All right, so we've now got it down to it's probably the connector. So kind of like a really chasing my tail kind of weird problem, but let's see what we can do. So I'm going to see what I can do to make sure that this connector is good. Because I'm even looking at how far they're recessed back in this plastic, and it looks exactly the same. So yeah, that's pretty odd. But all right, I'll bring you back when I got this plugged in, and we'll see if it works. And I'm going to leave the vertical one unplugged to see if we can't get it started on this forward one before we plug in the top one. Well, okay, so took off the gas tank, the air box, got in there with some jumpers to the actual fuel injection plug to the fuel injector, It's hard to tell whether this was working or not because the gas tank had to be leaned over on its side. And I was trying to jump between the plug and the injector itself to see if that would work. I didn't really have luck on that because there wasn't a lot of room to work to begin with. So it's kind of odd. So we took the forward plug and plugged it into the rear one. That didn't do anything. We took the rear one and plugged it into the forward one, and then the forward one was the one that was now working. So we hooked it up to the voltmeter. You saw that they were both reading the same thing. So yeah, I'm not sure exactly what's going on. Both the connectors look exactly the same. I even tightened the pins on the front one, shoved them on there. I took the gasket off of the front one to see if it would push in a little bit further. Still nothing. So I did a continuity check between the front part of the pin, and I took the water sealing boot off the back, and I checked to make sure everything was fine there. Everything was fine there. So I'm kind of at a little bit of a loss. I feel like, I don't know if it needs a new boot or what, but as we were fiddling around with it, now the gas line popped and then sprayed gas everywhere. So I don't feel confident in messing around with all these electronics with the engine coated in gas. So unfortunately, we're gonna leave it off there. If you guys have any thoughts or ideas, I mean, it is interesting that we just took the boot off the back and moved it to the front, and the front cylinder started firing. So that proves that the fuel injector is fine. So we keep narrowing it down. So now it just seems like it's the connection between the fuel injection and the fuel injector. So yeah, between the boot and that, I don't know, anybody ever heard of this kind of problems? So I'm not sure what we should do now. Dielectric grease on there to see if it helps the connection. But realistically, I got to take all this apart again and then replace the fuel line that popped. And I guess while we're in there, maybe we'll see, but I don't know. Leaving it up to you guys. What's going on here?